Hi everyone, we're going to talk next about membranes. So we're talking about tissues, and we're focusing on this chapter mainly on connective tissue and epithelial tissue. So we have membranes that are mainly epithelial tissue, and we have membranes that are mainly connective tissue. So each of these pictures here is showing a different type of membrane. So when maybe we can come back at the end and use this to check our recollection of the membranes. Okay, so what is a membrane? A membrane is flat sheets of pliable tissue that cover or line part of the body. So pliable means it can move around, or it can bend very easily. So we have epithelial membranes, and we have synovial membranes. So let's see, epithelial or synovial, those are two categories of membranes. So epithelial membranes consist of an epithelial layer and an underlying connective tissue layer that's called the lamina propria. So this type of membrane, epithelial membranes, include mucous membranes, serous membranes, and cutaneous membranes. And then synovial membranes are different because they're only made out of connective tissue. They are not epithelial tissue, and they just line joints. So, again, this is what we just discussed. So, mucous membranes line interior body surfaces that open to the outside. So think about that for a moment. Where do you have sort of an inside part of your body that opens to the outside body? Well, your digestive tract, right? Both the mouth opens to the exterior, and so does the anus. So the mucous membrane lines in the entire digestive tract. The respiratory tract also is an internal area of the body that opens to the outside via the nose and the mouth, really. And in the reproductive tract, for example, like the vagina opens to the outside, and it is lined with mucous membrane. So you want to keep in mind, again, mucous membranes line interior body surfaces that open to the exterior. Serous membranes are different. They line surfaces that do not open to the outside. So this here is like the main reason I wanted to do this narration. Parietal and visceral layers. So we talked about it a little bit in chapter 1, but here we are again talking about it again. So let's take your heart, for example. This is not anatomically correct. Your heart doesn't really look like that. But your heart has a membrane around it called the pericardium. Peri means around. So that serous membrane, the pericardium, has two layers. The outer layer is called parietal, and it is, in this case, the outermost layer of that serous membrane. So viscera means organs. So visceral layer is like lying right on top of the organ. And in between those two layers, you've got fluid called serous fluid. And that fluid is there to reduce friction. So parietal, again, is closer to the body's wall. It's more outer, it's more external. Visceral is lying right on the organ. So if you're in lab and you dissected the pig and you cut open the very tough pericardium and you saw the heart was kind of glistening, that was the visceral layer of the pericardium. It's right on top of the organ. All right, so skin is a cutaneous membrane. That's a third type of epithelial membrane, and we'll talk about it more in chapter 5. But for now, just know it is a membrane. Synovial membranes are unique because they enclose freely movable joints, which are called synovial joints, and they also enclose bursae, and tendon sheaths. Both of these reduce friction at a joint. So synovial fluid, so let's just take a look. So in this picture here, the synovial membrane is right here. So synovial membranes, remember, do not have epithelial tissue. They just have connective tissue. So there's the membrane, and inside of the membrane is a fluid called synovial fluid, and its job is to lubricate the joints. All right, so which type of tissue membrane lines cavities that open to the exterior, like the GI tract? Mucous membranes. Easy to remember because our nose and mouth are lined with mucous membranes. So what type of membrane was this? Synovial membrane. How about this? Two different mucous membranes lining the respiratory tract and the digestive tract. Ooh, the colon. Does it open to the exterior? Eventually it does, down here at the anus. So it is lined with a mucous membrane. This picture is hard to really decipher, but it's showing a membrane called a peritoneum, which lines your internal organs, and it is a serous membrane because it does not open to the exterior. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please let me know.